life and my mom, and we're gonna show you how to get the exact same makeup look 26 years apart, and we're gonna be using different products to achieve the exact same result. So let's get started. I'm gonna be hydrating my face with my Laneige Water Sleeping Balm. I love this because it's pretty lightweight and wears really well underneath your foundation. For my mom, I'm gonna be going into my Rosé Toronto Facial Oil, and typically I like using a thicker serum for people with more mature skin because it's just gonna add in that hydration and give them a really dewy, flawless complexion. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation, and for my mom, we're going to be mixing in a tinted moisturizer to thin out her foundation just a little bit, making this more of a natural finish while still giving her coverage and hydration. If you do have dry skin or fine lines, hydration is definitely key. I also like to do about 50% foundation and 50% tinted moisturizer. I like to apply this first with a brush to just get it all over the face, and then I use my beauty sponge to kind of just push it and melt it into the skin. And I also like to elongate that onto the neck and chest for a really perfected look. And you probably wouldn't do this for an everyday makeup application, but it's definitely a great tip if you just want everything to look flawless if you have a big event coming up. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to be going into my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I'm going to be applying this a little bit more heavy-handed, and this is also more of a full coverage concealer. This is definitely a great technique for brightening up your features. I'm going to be using my NARS Matte Concealer on my mom. I love this product because a little bit really goes a long way, so you don't have to cake on as much concealer, and I'm just really buffing this in rather than applying a ton of product. Picking up my Hoola Bronzer by Benefit. I love using this bronzer to just help warm up my face. I'm also using a fairly fluffy brush so that we're not really chiseling or contouring our face. We're just kind of warming up our features. I'm also doing a 3 shape, so on the top of my forehead, underneath my cheekbones, and then under my jaw. I absolutely love using cream products on my mom. The more hydration, the better. So I'm gonna skip the powder bronzer and I'm gonna go into a cream bronzer. This is by Pure Cosmetics, and I'm just doing a 3 shape again on the side of her face, and then just buffing this out with a fairly dense brush. I personally like using this type of brush just because it is more firm, so it's gonna get the job done quicker. Moving on to the cheeks, I'm going to add a little bit of color and life to my face. I'm going into my Patrick Ta blush, and I'm just going to be applying that right at the apples of the cheeks and then just blending it back. For my mom, we're going to use the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur. I love this because, again, it has a creamy formula, so we're just going to continue to hydrate my mom's face. And with the extra product on my brush, I've just run that over the eyelid to just help warm up the features. Moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my Ride or Die Benefit Brow Pencil. We're actually going to be using the exact same product for myself and my mom. I always have a tendency to start at the tail of the brow and really define it, working my way to the front with a much lighter hand. And a little pro tip when you are doing your eyebrows, if you direct the tail of your brow more towards the temple, it actually helps to lift up your eyes and makes your eyes look more open. I'm going to be baking by applying a pretty large portion of product underneath my eyes as well as underneath my cheekbone. We're going to leave it there until I finish my eyeshadow. For my mom, you wouldn't do something like baking. Instead, I'm using a buffing brush, and I'm just going to press the powder into the skin. And by doing this, you're still setting the face to ensure that the makeup is locked in place, but we kind of have to go about this with a different approach because baking can definitely increase dryness, which we are trying to hydrate my mom so that everything looks flawless. Moving on to the eyes, I'm going to be using my Soft Glam palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm first picking up that really light transition shade in a fluffy brush, and I'm just doing little circular motions in the outer crease of my eye to just warm this up and start creating some definition and dimension. And I'm just continuing to build up the exact same shade and just really get that texture there. Moving on to my mom's eyes, we're going to be using the exact same transition shade. I'm also going to be lifting up the brow bone so I can really get in there and work the product around evenly, and I'm just going to be building this up in layers. I'm going to be picking up a tinier fluffy brush and now dipping into that dark brown shade to keep this lower down on my eye, really tight to the lash line. I'm also just doing little mini circular motions. I'm not buffing this out too big because I want the definition to be closer down to the lash line. The next step for my mom's eyes would be to grab a waterproof brown eyeliner. The reason why we are doing this is because my mom has a tendency of getting oily eyelids throughout the day. So using a waterproof eyeliner first is really just gonna help lock everything in place. So I'm putting this in the exact same area where I applied the dark shade on my eyes, and then I'm just buffing this out with a blending brush to smoke it out to perfection. Next, I'm grabbing an angled brush and I'm dipping into the black now just to give my eyes a little bit more definition. And I'm just gonna run this right tight to my eyelash line. For my mom's eyes, we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. This is a cake eyeliner, which is water activated. And I don't wanna have any harsh lines on my mom, especially because she has blue eyes. And that's also why I'm using this blue shade, so it's a little bit softer on her eyes. So I'm gonna be stamping this in on her top lash line, and this is actually a great technique if you wanna get that definition but you don't actually wanna see a visible eyeliner line. I'm gonna apply a touch of highlighter on my brow bone as well as on my eyelid to really help brighten up my eyes. I'm also gonna be doing the same thing on my mom, but I'm not doing as much on her eyelid. Instead, we're just keeping this right close to her tear duct. You can definitely skip this step, but I'm personally a lash lover, so I'm gonna go into my Kiss lashes. And a little tip when you are applying lashes, what I like to do is apply my eyelash glue, and you wanna wait for the glue to get tacky. So while I'm waiting, I dust off my translucent powder, and then we're gonna go back to our glue after it's sat on for about a minute or two so that it's super sticky, and it's gonna be so much easier to apply really tight, close to your lash line. I'm gonna be applying eyelashes on my mom as well, and if you do have droopier eyelids, it helps to just lift up the skin on your eye so that you can get it as close to the lash line as possible. I'm quickly finishing up the eyes by adding a touch of that transition shade right under the bottom lash line to really just help define the eyes. I'm also applying that transition shade on my mom's eyes. Using a white eyeliner that is waterproof in your lash line is a huge tip to making your eyes look bigger and more white, especially if you're someone that gets bloodshot eyes. So I always love this technique for giving you that more doe eye effect. Going for a more dewy complexion, I'm gonna go into my highlighter palette. I'm dusting this on my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, and on my cupid's bow. We're gonna do the exact same thing for my mom, but I'm applying this with a tinier brush so that we are targeting a smaller area on my mom's face. I'm also being a little bit more aware of where I'm applying this on my mom's face and how much product I can get away with. Okay, we're at the home stretch. We're gonna go for a really nice brown nude lip. I'm gonna go into my fave lip liner. This is the KKW Beauty Classic Iconic. I like to overline my lips slightly and kind of fill them in, leaving the very center of the lips bare. And then I'm gonna go into this gorgeous shade by Bare Minerals. This is called Smooch, and I'm just applying this in the very center of my lip to kind of create an ombre effect. We're gonna use the exact same shades on my mom as well, and you can see that I'm overlining her lips a slight bit as well. I feel like it just makes the whole look kind of come together. We also have already applied a lip ointment on my mom because she does have dry lips, and it's also just helping the product glide onto the lips a lot more smooth. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished result. Same makeup, 26 years apart. Let us know what you thought down below, and if you want to see more from me, head over to my channel at Julie Dantas Beauty, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!